Untitled, Part 1 of 2 on the future of mental health in Canada. Let's take a look at the current situation. Canada's mental health system is undergoing significant change. The COVID-19 pandemic has pushed mental health to the forefront of national concern, and deep and systemic issues which predated COVID-19 are becoming urgent. While mental illness, which includes addictions, has moved to the forefront in the media and with Canadians in general over the past few years, it's safe to say that a lot of people still don't have a true understanding of just how large, onerous, and potentially damaging the crisis really is, on both a societal and personal level. The numbers simply don't lie. Most people don't think of mental illness as being deadly, at least not in the same way that people die from cancer, heart disease, or diabetes. Yet the interrelationship between addictions and other forms of mental illness and their connection to physical health is undeniable. Once again, the numbers are still too real. Opioid overdoses account for more deaths in Canada than automobile accidents. The World Health Organization estimates that one person dies by suicide every 40 seconds. Over 4,000 Canadians die from suicide every year, an average of 11 per day. People who suffer from mood disorders are at a higher risk of developing a long-term medical condition. People with mental illness are twice as likely to have a substance use problem versus the general population. People with mental illness and addiction are more likely to die prematurely versus the general population. Tobacco addiction is the leading cause of premature mortality in Canada. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 450 million people currently struggle with mental illness, which makes it the leading cause of disability worldwide. In Canada, it affects more than 6.7 million people. Matter of fact, 1 in 2 Canadians experience or have experienced a mental illness by 40 years of age. There is an increasingly large gap in the system's ability to deliver timely intervention and adequate long-term care. Here are a few key facts. Only half of Canadians receive potentially adequate care for a major depressive episode. 1/3 of Canadians aged 15 or older who have a need for mental health care say those needs have not been fully met. 75% of children suffering from mental disorders do not have access to specialized treatment services. Aboriginal youth are about 5 to 6 times more likely to die from suicide than non-Aboriginal youth. Suicide rates among Inuit youth are one of the highest in the world, at 11 times the national average. There is a huge awareness of isolated groups in the mental health system, which is impacting access to services. These impacts include long wait times, lack of financial support for services, lack of clarity on services available, redundancies, and uneven service quality between providers and regions. COVID-19 is exacerbating current challenges in mental health, with rates of post-traumatic stress disorder on the rise, depression, anxiety, frontline workers suffering from burnout, burden on working mothers, and a worrying impact on youth. This mental health crisis impacted by broader crises in our society, such as the climate change crisis. Another major concern for the future of mental health in Canada is the lack of affordable housing, and other social determinants of health are becoming increasingly urgent to address, which includes the financial impacts of COVID-19, food security, and social connection. The heightened focus on eliminating systemic racism has placed pressure on governments and corporations to increase equity, inclusion, and accountability within their institutions. Also, it has raised awareness of the needs for culturally appropriate mental health services, particularly among Black, Indigenous, people of color, vulnerable communities, the homeless, refugees, and LGBTQ groups. While a number of business sectors are suffering right now, there are a handful of industries such as virtual reality, medical devices, touch-free technology that have catalyzed innovation and growth since the pandemic. Among these business sectors is virtual mental health care, which has seen a steep increase in demand for all ages, particularly in the teen and young adult demographic. With depression, suicidal ideation, substance abuse, and binge drinking on the rise among college students, and 70% of teens struggling with mental health issues, teletherapy can be a lifesaver. Don't expect virtual mental health care to disappear once the pandemic does, because it can make a tangible positive difference. It has been an evolving trend over the past several years and will hopefully become a vital component in creating better access to treatment. However, it should not completely replace residential and in-person treatment. The therapeutic process is not always about talking. Many of the most powerful evidence-based modalities, including experiential therapy, somatic approaches, and group work, cannot be sufficiently replicated online. Therefore, occupying the same physical space can be a worthwhile trade-off as long as safety guidelines are followed, such as wearing a mask. At first glance, masks may appear to be a significant barrier in a field where communication and interpretation of emotions are the essential requirements. But for skilled mental health professionals, facial expressions are only parts of a nuanced picture that encompasses gestures, words, body language, and tone of voice. Moreover, for young adults experiencing isolation and loneliness, there is no other alternative for the curative power of authentic in-person connection with a supportive community. The COVID-19 pandemic has only reinforced and brought to light what was already known about the mental health care system in Canada. The system is inadequately resourced, organizationally fragmented, and siloed, and faces consistently increasing demand across all sectors. If you are new to my YouTube channel, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. It is completely free to do so, and it really helps out my channel. Also, if you like the news and the educational videos that I provide and find them helpful, hit the like button down below as well. Before I finish today, I'd like to take a moment to talk about the counseling service that I offer. Generally, I work with a person online through a secure, private, and highly confidential platform. However, if someone feels uncomfortable talking to me in that way, I am more than ready to talk to them over the telephone for the first couple of sessions. Either way, I am here to listen, support, and provide guidance to anyone struggling emotionally. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, take care and God bless.